We are back. This is the second part of the video that I'm doing with Luca Sadurny from Mosalingua. We were talking about how to learn two similar languages, and we're here at the Polyglot Gathering in Bratislava. The first part was in French. You will find the link in the description. And you already know, Luca, we did an interview a few weeks ago where we talked about many things, motivation about language and his app, Mosalingua. And now we will continue our conversation. And Luca has also a lot of experience with similar languages. I learned two similar languages, which were French and Spanish, and Luca knows all of them. So, so he has a lot of experience with not confusing and confusing the languages. And so, yeah, what in your experience, what do you think is the best strategy to learn a second foreign language which is similar to the one that you've already learned or that you may be learning at this very moment?
Well, first of all, I don't think it's a good idea to learn two similar languages at the same time because you really have the strong risk to confuse the languages. So what I tried that. I'm speaking because I have some experience. So for example, I tried to learn Spanish and Romanian at the same time. Well, the problem was that my Spanish was not so good. So every time I had to say something in Romanian, then, you know, I had like Spanish popping up words like saying sí, other things in Spanish. So it was really frustrating. So, then I observed then when you reach like a level which in the European Common Framework it's like B2 or maybe a strong B1, but better B2, then yes, you can start to exploit that and to take the advantages of having two similar languages on the table.
And do you think that you should employ a different strategy acquiring a language that is similar to one that you've never heard? Like, if you've already learned one Latin language, would you learn the second one differently than you would, for instance, learn Polish?
Yeah, sure. Because, well, for example, I had another personal example. So, well, I started with French, and then, you know, it was like Spanish, Portuguese, and Romanian. So I had a lot. It was really easy at the beginning to understand and to make me understandable, let's say, because, you know, I had this common ground and all those words, the vocabulary, and it really helps a lot. So I was like speaking, and I think that I was memorizing a lot of words at the beginning, and I didn't exercise a lot my listening skills because well, from the very first moment, you know, like the first conversation, it was like quite easy to understand. So I knew that I didn't need a lot of listening input and so on. Then I applied a very different strategy with German. Because during my first conversation, well, I realized that I was not understanding some questions because I was missing vocabulary and I didn't have a lot of cognates, a lot of similar words and so on. So I said, okay, now I think that for German I had to apply a different method. I need a lot of listening input. So like being able to understand better, I will feel more confident to understand because I already had that confidence in Portuguese, in Spanish, and so on. So it was easier for me. So yes, I would apply a different method based on the different situation.
Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense. And you said, which is obvious, that you learn a similar language quicker. How much quicker do you think you can learn a second language which is similar, or a third language? And you have experience with that because you've learned so many Romance languages.
Yeah, well, it really depends because when you say how much time do you need, it depends on like the workload that you have, how many hours per day are you dedicating to the study and so on. But yeah, it's really faster because from my experience, I can say that for Portuguese, it was really fast. Like after 3 months, I was really like able to communicate. Well, I had like a bad accent and it was not perfect, but you know, I was I don't want to say that I was really fluent, but the communication was like smooth and it was really easy to communicate and so on. But for example, when I started with the first time with Spanish or Romanian, well, I think that I needed much more time to have this feeling of really be free with the language and being able to cope with different subjects and topics and so on.
And so now you speak all of them fluently, your 5 Romance languages, and do you still confuse them sometimes in some particular situations?
Not really. Well, maybe, if I'm in a situation where it really happens only here, like at the polyglot gathering, like I have to switch from Spanish and Portuguese during the same conversation. Well, maybe yes, because we talked before the video about that. You have you can be in the French mode, you can be in the Spanish mode and Portuguese mode. So it's really hard to have that, but. It's really amazing how our brain works, because in a normal situation when I'm dealing with Brazilian people or I'm dealing with Spanish people, it's like I have separate parts of my brain and it's like turning on, and I can I don't mix up, because now I have like a B2 level in all those languages, so I can be quite sure I will not mix it up. But I'm sure that, I only miss Catalan between and Latin, but Latin I know a little bit, the rhythm part. Occitan. But I'm sure that if I started Catalan, I think at the beginning, I should not play also with other similar languages, because it would be a very weak language for me. So of course I would confuse it with other languages.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, even with non-similar languages. Like right now, we just spoke French all the time, and now it feels kind of weird to speak English. I don't think I would confuse it, but if we would switch to Spanish now, I might. So sometimes there's the risk for me, but maybe that's because you just mastered more Romance languages. Yeah, so it was great. I enjoyed our little talk. Is there anything you would like to add?
No, it's okay. So yeah, I think we covered everything about dealing with different languages. Final tip, as we said in French, studying once at a time. So dealing with one language and then starting with another one, similar or not. So it's an important thing.
Yeah. So we're here at the Polyglot Gathering in Bratislava. Luca Sadurny from Mosalingua. If you haven't seen the first part, check it out on Luca's YouTube channel. The link is below. And
Mosalingua one, yeah.
Yep, the Mosalingua one. And see you soon.
See you soon. Bye. Thank you.